Hi. Hello. Shaky cam. You're not our friend. I think I've got everything set up. Sorry if you were waiting. I was cramming food into my face. I think I've got it. Oh, now I can hear myself. What a mistake. What an error. Quickly solved. Just a short one today. We're going to just be drawing a back alley for purposes of our combat. Oh my goodness. Oh, there we go. I was watching my own stream and suddenly it went off. No resolution. Hi, Squeaky. Yes, it's cheese, as you can clearly see by the video. Once again, we have a fight. We know that the players are going to... I'm really quiet. That's unacceptable. Let's try something like that. How is it now? How now, brown cow? How's it going? Tell me about your day. What did you do? Do you have a short week? Do you have a regular week? I want to know. But also tell me if the volume's okay. I'll drop that down just a tiny bit too. Oh, this is right in the camera view. We can't have that. Hopefully that will also be fine. Hopefully, anyway. If not, I'll do it again. Anyway, we know that the players are still super quiet. What's going on? Hi, Zess. Let's try... Oh, good. Better. Okay, well, I'll keep getting set up, and you let me know if it still seems like it could be improved, because that's a thing that I can do. I can't do much, but I can do that. Anyway, we know that the players are in a back alley, and they've got a little bit of a scrape on their hands when we start up the next session. So I wanted to put together just a really quick back alley encounter for them. And I think that I have a street somewhere, but it's honestly pretty low detail. I kind of rushed through it, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this necessarily. I'm going to try and make an early night of it. But I did want to do something better than what I already have. So, I went to Office Depot today. As you may have seen if you follow me on social medium. This is our old pad. These pads have 30 sheets, I think. Should probably say on here. And I have this one on top. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, that's a lot more than I thought that I had left. But yeah, there's 30 of these. So actually, I still have almost a third of the pad done, which is a little bit embarrassing. Well, I thought that I had it pretty well depleted. Hi. So, I went to resupply, and it turned out that they had buy one, get the second one half off, which these things run you about like $32 a pad. So that's, you're still looking at like $55 buying 2 of these. But if you plan on going through all of them, and I certainly do, then I've never seen them on sale before in any way. So this was like, I kind of felt like I should get 4, but that seems to bloat my budget a little too much. I have a certain amount that I'm willing to pay for Dungeons & Dragons each month. Certainly supplemented with everyone's generous donations, but even then, you know, there's only so much you can do. I bought some adventures, earlier this month, and I bought some art supplies, and this already was putting a strain on it. But if you're interested in... well, if that's the case, Squeaky, I'll use them for some other tabletop game. Or I'll just... if you want to draw maps, and you want to use the same kind of stuff, excuse me, that I use, you might consider dropping by Office Depot and seeing if they're on sale at your Office Depot. Because, as I said, I've never seen them on sale before in any capacity, and this certainly isn't a buy one get one kind of deal, but it's a deal. Is the audio still good? Does that problem seem remedied, Squeak? Just destroy these after hyping them up. Hair tie, I don't need those. Here's my camera, you don't necessarily have to see that. I also bought your favorite and mine. Which camera do I use? It's so conflicting. Ticonderoga number 2. The world's best pencil. They even come pre-sharpened. Not mechanical. Wood. Number 2. Ticonderoga. Hello, Malamars. How's it going? Hello! My dog is here. Up! Paulo! Are you going to help draw? Thank you. Again? Good boy. Polo is a good dog. So, mostly I try to draw maps that will not be tremendous spoilers. I don't do all of my map drawing on stream. For example, at the end of the very last session, still getting used to the 2-camera setup. I need to do something better. Just talk to Carson about that. At the end of the last session, there was an enemy spawned in the midst of a alleyway, in a back alley. Yes, traps are all off screen. I wouldn't draw those on the map to begin with, unless I really wanted to give it away. Anyway, we know that the players are going to fight these things. They could run away, but they're going to have a bad time if they run away. If it had been not the end of the session, we would have just rolled initiative. So I feel okay drawing the back alley on stream, because everyone knows, oh, they're going to be in a back alley at the very beginning of the next session, and then for however long that combat takes. Likewise, if they're arriving in a new city or something like that, then I'm okay drawing the city on stream, as long as I'm not giving away too much in the way of like plot-specific landmarks. Hi, Mac. How's it going? How are you? Adjust my chair just a tiny bit. Adjust my cameras just a tiny bit. And let's get started. So this one I'm just sort of doing freehand. I do not have a particular model in mind, but I do have a particular idea of what the layout is going to look like when we're done with it. And I'm going to go ahead and use pretty much the whole sheet for this, so that there is enough room to have a large number of monsters. I'm going to try and get this positioned such that it doesn't keep bouncing all the time. And maybe that will be fine. I am doing just fine, Mac. I just finished eating dinner, and I'm excited for a short week. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, Squeaky. Thank you to everyone that dropped by Encounter Roleplay's game this past Saturday. That was a ton of fun. Dark Sun is a old Dungeons and Dragons universe. Carl Kuhe? Am I saying that right? Carl Kuhe. Maybe. Feel free to amend my butchery of your name. I'm very sorry. Anyway, it's a very, very old Dungeons and Dragons setting. It had a little bit of a resurgence in 4th edition back in the mid-2000s. But it's my absolute favorite. Carl Ku. That's so much easier. I'm so sorry for not saying it good. Anyway, I have adapted Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition to Dark Sun because that's where I want to play. And that's where everyone seems to have a good time. It's kind of like a post-apocalyptic Dungeons and Dragons world where it's kind of this wasteland filled with desert. Let me go ahead and start drawing scenes. Oh man, am I streaming Dungeons and Dragons? I should totally be on creative. What a knucklehead. Now that I'm actually putting pencil to paper. Dink. Dink. There we go. Anyway, most of civilization has been destroyed. There's weird mutants out in the wasteland, and every day is a battle for survival. It's a lot of fun. I like it a lot. So, as usual, we only really get up to about this point. Because of the cameras. Come on. There we go. Up to this point, because past this point it's pretty sticky, so we're not going to be able to use quite so much of that. But that doesn't mean we won't still get a good-sized bit of alleyway. And once again, this is going to be pretty light, I think, until we start putting down some more solid lines. But that might happen sooner rather than later with this kind of stream. It's going to be a short one, shorter than usual, certainly shorter than last week. Last week's was fun, but you know, you might be onto something there, Mac. Certainly, Antoria seems to endorse that belief. So what we're building here is almost sort of a confluence, a conjunction of various paths. We want it to be kind of chaotic. Not something that was deliberately planned out. It's just sort of everyone built their buildings, and they wound up with this kind of back space. And we're gonna do what we were doing with the what was it we were drawing? The tavern. Excuse me, we were drawing a tavern a couple of weeks ago. And I was drawing it for a very particular purpose, very much like this alleyway. We were like, oh, well, they're going to be in a tavern at the start of the next session, so we know we can draw a tavern without too much in the way of spoilers. But even though that tavern sadly burned down, there's a very good chance the party might enter another tavern someday and create circumstances where we need a map. In which case, we still have that perfectly serviceable tavern sitting around, which was good. It had good features to it, and it had features that we knew we wanted to use for that particular session. But it's not so unique that we couldn't use it again. We wouldn't necessarily do that if we had like a tavern that had a waterfall in the middle of it, or was decorated with obsidian or something like that. That was like really noteworthy. Like that would be a really cool feature to add. But you wouldn't maybe be able to use the exact same map if you embellished on all those kinds of things on the map. So, I'm actually going to jump ahead to the inks here because I'm not quite so worried about like boundaries and stuff like that. I've pretty much got what I want out of that. A lot of this is just going to be adding in details, but I want you guys to be able to see a little better what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump straight ahead to that. If that's your intention, Mac, you might want to try letting the players know. Donations are always appreciated, but they do not affect the gameplay, unfortunately. As much as that is appreciated. Now, if we do a one-shot or something like that, if we do something like the speedrun RPG or something like that, we'll probably do donation stuff again. In fact, we might do something like that in preparation for Fast Fair coming up next year. Fast Fair is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. But usually, for the weekly games, we don't really do anything like affecting the action or affecting dice rolls or anything like that. Certainly the donations are appreciated, but I'd like the players to have power in their own hands, even if that means letting Marvin devastate the world. It's a shame. I've definitely played with characters like Marvin before, and it can be frustrating, but I've always really admired how Fat Wizard really kind of keeps him reined in. He could really have him be a lot more psychopathic than he really is, but I think Marvin really tries to get what he wants without violence, or even without threat of violence, most usually. But as a Dark Sun character, I think that he does a really good job of responding to violence with devastating violence of his own. Because if someone tries to kill you in the world of Athos, you might just need to kill them first. I think in the wrong hands, Marvin would be a problem. But I think Fat Wizard does a good job running him. I'm glad to have him along. Squeaky, do you have more Nibene facts to share with us? Hi, Newman! How's it going? Good to see you. I'm doing alright. How have you been, buddy? See, I don't even think it's that squeaky. Like, yes, that's usually what happens, but Marvin isn't literally there to destroy everything. Marvin is there to gather power and rule the world. And the problem is that people don't let him do that. And so that results in him trying to prove his worthiness. Which, you know, generally seems to work out in Marvin's favor. I mean, I guess he can't stay in one place for very long, but he's like he's a lot like a Grand Theft Auto character, where he really just wants what's coming to him, and if you get in his way, then, well, that's really your problem. You've been better, Newman. That's unfortunate. I hope things get better for you. Alright, so we've got our basic kind of grid here. what I want to do is I want to embellish this without distracting too much from where the players are allowed to go. I might also, I've very deliberately, given this a lot of space so that there's room to have a tactical encounter, but I might also want to place like a couple of obstacles just so that there's room to maneuver. I've done a little bit of that over here. I kind of like this. I might just take another block like this and just sit it out here in the middle. In fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. And if you imagine, if this is a back alley and these are sort of storefronts and stuff like that, then this could almost be like a storage shed or some kind of other kind of external building that's used for that kind of a purpose. And actually, there's just enough room here. This worked out really nicely. Or if we put two of those right here, that will do exactly what we wanted. Squeaky, what I really like about that interaction is that Herbie and Jeff haven't really known one another nearly as long as I've known either of the two of them. But I absolutely knew that once I got them into the same group, that they would figure out a way for their characters to connect so well. And I admit I led a little bit of that because I was talking with Tiger Crush ahead of time. That's Tiger Crush and Ferret Dev. I keep forgetting to use their secret superhero names. He was talking to me about, what kind of a character he was talking about and where they could be from. And when we started talking about Yurik, obviously I was like, oh, well, Ferret Dev's character is from Yurik. And he's from the other side of the law, so there's got to be some kind of a cool interaction there. And sure enough, it's gone better than I think anyone could have ever hoped. That is just terrific. So we've established, okay, we've got these storage sheds here. I'm going to just clean up the pencil lines a little bit. This is actually really refreshing to be able to just jump straight into Sharpies. Sometimes you just have to go with it. Where did I? There we go. Wait. There. On the flip side of that, I had no idea how Cade and Marvin were gonna interact in any way whatsoever, and it's been nothing but delightful. So we've got these storage sheds, so you've got to have a way to go in and out of them. So I'm not going to draw like the full interior of these necessarily, but I am absolutely going to just sort of say, okay, here's where the door in and out of those happens to be. Fuher Cthulhu, thank you so much for the host. Welcome to the stream. What a treat. Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited to see how the development of the prophecy plays out. I've got plans for that, but it's difficult to see where it might go. Hello, Cthulhu. How are you? How's your evening going? Thank you so much. That's very nice of you to say. I really like doing it, and it's something I have to do anyway. I'm going to do this. One of the reasons I love playing Dungeons & Dragons so much is that not only do I get to play Dungeons & Dragons, which is great, but I get to do a little bit of writing, I get to do a little bit of drawing, I get to do map making, I get to create soundtracks to whatever the evening's thing is going to go. It really tickles like every one of my creative interests. So thank you for being there for that. Every D&D campaign should incorporate Cthulhu. Well, if you stick around long enough to see a better glimpse of the Dust Kraken, maybe you'll just get your wish. So, if we've got buildings that have storage, And we need some way to get back into those buildings too, so we'll add a couple of doors there. And then, let's say, remember when Cade was barreling through trying to get to where Osric was. Osric is the Mull gladiator that he was chasing down. We said that he basically stampeded through the kitchen to get to the back exit. So we'll say that he came out over here. We'll give it a nice double door so that there's enough room for... I realize that's not super visible on the camera, but maybe if we flip it around. Nope, still not super visible. And I mean, that's deliberate. I don't want, like, a huge door jutting into those spaces, because these are two still, like... I can still do combat in these areas. This door isn't, like, blocking stuff out. But I want players to be able to see wall, 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 wall. Oh, there's a door there. Okay. I understand the layout a little bit better. Let's add just a couple more doors. These ones aren't so important, so we'll just sort of toss them in just to scatter the details a little bit. So this is another double door over here. I'm gonna flip things around. And we'll do another one over here. Don't necessarily have to have one in every wall. I think that's plenty. I think that is just plenty. Marvin is Fat Wizard's character. Marcus is Lobos Jr.'s character. You can get a full list of all the characters by doing !players. Okay, so another detail that we can add, just to continue breaking up... Thank you, Squeaky. Continue breaking up the terrain just a little bit, is we're going to buff out the walls a little bit by adding some trash heaps. This isn't a world that has sanitation or anything. So a lot of trash is probably going to have just gathered up. So we're just going to find some 2x2 sections and just add some clumps, just some big heaps, where people have just basically dumped their trash. Might even actually block off a couple of these sections, just with how much trash has been laid out. In fact, let's put one over here. And we can put one here, probably. Put one here, you can sort of get past that just a little bit. It is definitely not Rome. This is a different, differently inspired kind of place, I think. And that probably is enough. I'm actually going to take this one. Well, I'm going to take this one out because I like this odd bite taken out of it corner, and if we add a trash pile there, then it's really just a regular 90-degree corner. So maybe we'll do something else there. Skaven live everywhere. Oh, I knew exactly what you meant, Mac, and I meant I was not fooling around. Most of Dark Sun cities have some sort of a real-world, ancient, or classical city kind of counterpart. And there is one for Rome. There's a lot of the... No, that's fine. That's not like a commonly known detail. I just only know that because I love Dark Sun and I know everything about it. I try really hard it's not as apparent necessarily with the maps and stuff like that, because I've kind of got a set style that I use for those. But definitely with like the descriptions of the buildings and the outfits and the food and the soundtracks especially, I try to really pick a culture or a period of time in a realm of the real world and use that as sort of the guideline for the style of that city, and I think that that really helps kind of set these areas apart a little bit, even if they're from some fantasy worlds, to go, okay, well, this feels a little bit more like Egypt, or this feels a little bit more like India, or this feels a little bit more like ancient China, that kind of thing. Thank you, Super Pansy. That's very nice of you to say. We play Dungeons and Dragons on Tuesdays, so Monday nights I wind up doing a fair bit of my map drawing anyway. So with these, they're always going to be kind of like hay bales. I'm just going to color them differently. I'm just going to do sort of a fuzzball. We are playing 5th edition. It is so great. Which isn't to say that I don't love Pathfinder also. I just love 5th edition. 5th edition is fantastic. It is far and away my favorite system. It does everything. It does everything that I like to do in let me roll back. It does most of the things that I love to do in 3.5 or Pathfinder, but there's so much less looking up tables and stuff like that. It's simplified, but it's not dumbed down, and I really appreciate that. Particularly as a dungeon master. One of the main complaints that I've heard leveled from Pathfinder players is that, well, if you're playing something that's more rooted in 3.5, then as a player you've got lots more customization options, which is absolutely true. But as someone that mostly dungeon masters, as opposed to being a player, let me tell you straight up, custom classes and builds are a huge pain in the ass. I love how 5th edition has 10 classes, and 12 classes, and yeah, 12 classes, and there's separate builds within the class, and you can customize within that, and that's all I need to worry about. I feel like it gives you plenty of tools to build exactly the kind of character that you want. As someone that just ran a multi-class character this weekend, I can tell you that the multi-classing is super viable. You can build all kinds of interesting characters, and it's so much easier for me to run on the backside of the screen. It's such a relief. Oh no, Mac! I'm sorry. Okay, so Mac, I will work on getting you a version of Prison Break. So I was playing some music on Spotify that's more heavily trafficked on YouTube. It's the New Order album that came out this year, and unfortunately, copyright law prohibits me having that anywhere in the video in certain countries, particularly England. I tried for a week to try and get it out of there and still get a good quality video up. I had a hard time doing it. I didn't want to wait too much longer without having a video up at all. So I just posted it, knowing that I would probably need to go back and fix it at some point. Mac, I will absolutely work on that this week. Are you right on? I guess you would be, otherwise why would you have tried to play it? But I will try to work on that. Oh no, another. Well, I'm glad that you guys brought it up. I sincerely apologize. It was my goof. I should have tried to get a better solution. Luckily, this weekend is Thanksgiving here in the States, so I have a very long weekend, and I can spend part of that doing a revision to that video, so it doesn't have that track in it, so I can re-upload it, and then you'll be able to watch it. I'm really, really sorry, and I'll post. I'll post on Twitter and Facebook when that is done. That is the YouTube channel. It is not available in those countries because. So I guess I didn't explain that properly. So I was listening to an album on Spotify, which is what I use to play all of this music. I'm playing it right now. But I was playing a pop album release from this past year, and I was playing that right when I hit start streaming, and I forgot to switch the video, or excuse me, switch the audio to this more instrumental, less aggressively tracked music until like a minute and a half in. And I was like, well, that sucks. And YouTube was like, well, it does suck, and we'll keep it there, but you're not going to be able to stream this in this list of countries. And unfortunately, the file format that Twitch stuff saves stuff out as doesn't give me a whole lot of good options for cutting it down in like Premiere or anything like that, and saving it out as a smaller file. So anyway, long story short, I struggled with it. I didn't get anywhere with it. I posted it knowing that some people wouldn't be able to watch it. I didn't realize how many people immediately watching wouldn't be able to see it. So I apologize, and I will work this weekend to get you a better version of it. Because it's a really good episode. Like, really good. It might already be out of Twitch. I'm sorry, that was a couple of weeks back. Let me just take a quick look. And we'll get to some coloring. Past broadcasts. Yeah. That one might not be on there anymore. I don't know. I will work on it. I'm sorry. And I will post when it is fixed. Sorry. I feel really bad about that. Let's color some trash. So I'm going to take this, I think. Yeah, that's good. And just use straight lines. Sort of make it look a little bit more like a pile. And we'll come back in behind that. Make it look a little bit grosser. It's my pleasure, Mac. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Cool, so we've got just sort of a base coat of color there. I'll take some green and sort of swirl it up a little bit. Trash isn't terribly consistent, so you don't want this to look too neat and orderly. Just sort of put some swipes in there. Squeaky, if you didn't come here for trash, I don't know what to tell you, because you knew I was going to be here. So one thing that we're going to do that deviates a little bit from zingers everywhere, a little bit from what I've talked about before, is that I'm going to use a slightly different color for the doors here. And the reason for that is that I don't anticipate the players needing to explore these doors. These doors are kind of like the ones you see in video games where they're just part of the environment. They're not there to be opened. If you walk up to them, they're probably locked. You can't go through them. There's nothing on the other side of them. Now, if the players really do want to barrel through one of these doors and make an escape or something like that, or root through the storage closet to see if there's something that they can use in the middle of the fight, then they're more than welcome to. But I don't want the players to feel like, oh, I should go through there for some reason. So instead of using the sort of pink-purple that we usually use, I'm using this gray, just to sort of indicate, look, there's doors here. You don't have to go through them, but here's where the doors are. Don't even have to fill the entire rectangle, which is good because these are pretty small little spots. Good. Facebook noises. Sorry about that. Well, there's a couple of doors here that, like this one in particular, we said that this is sort of the kitchen tavern that Cade and the others sort of barreled through in order to get here. But this particular map is really just sort of you're in a back alley, there's a fight, here is the area where you're doing a fight. And we've said that some of these smaller spaces are storage rooms for whatever the buildings are that are in front of them. Most of them probably taverns or inns or other establishments of that kind of thing. Hookah lounges, pubs, gastropubs, eateries, cat cafes. But none of these buildings, this isn't like an exploration map. This isn't, okay, well, we need to search for the key. This is just bam, let's get in there and fight. And then once we leave, we're just going to sort of move this along and then say, okay, you're back in the city. That kind of thing. Those flumps did not survive. Let's do... I don't want to embellish this too much more, to be quite honest. We're going to color the buildings, but we're going to do that last. I want to add maybe just one more little detail to sort of scatter around here. What we're going to do is we're just going to add... We're going to do this in pencil first, I think. We're just going to add some scraps and stuff like that. Maybe even... Yeah, we're just going to add some scraps. And that's really just to sort of litter the area, to make it look very clearly like this place is a mess. It's not even going to be like difficult terrain or anything like that. It's really just sort of like we've pushed all of this garbage back here. And it's just sort of sitting around. Just to give it a little bit more variety than you might otherwise see. Maybe we can concentrate a little bit of this in like the corners, maybe in the trash heaps themselves. That would be exciting. I can't remember if we've done anything with the unicorn horn or not. Intoria did sort of a big crafting thing while everyone was in ROM and had the Alliance's research facility at his disposal. Oh, that's right. I think you're right. I think Marcus just has it. Interesting. I should follow up on that. They would need some gold. They don't have very much. Good. It's making it look quite a bit messier, I think. I think that's a good idea. Let's maybe get a little bit... bit more on these side paths. I do believe my playlist is finished. What if the unicorn was just a goat the entire time? Has no magical properties of any kind. Seems a lot more likely, doesn't it? Okay. Some goats are jerks. I've met some very nice goats. So again, this is just sort of decoration almost. We're just sort of littering the area. Literally. Ha! Literally. Kill me. So we're just gonna, we're not even gonna fully shade these in. We're just gonna add just a little bit of color to like each little fleck. We're not even gonna do much in the way of, we're just gonna use the one color too, because I don't want the players to be like, well, wait, what is that? I want to just be able to say, like, look, there's trash everywhere. Fight! And then they just sort of move on. It's all just about atmosphere. It's just about, here's this place that you're in. Good. I think, we really just need to shade in the buildings, and then we're mostly done. Oh, you know what? I missed a little bit of it down here. There we go. I think that's all of it. And then here, I don't think we've done buildings of this nature quite yet, but usually what I do, I don't like, there's no reason, I think, to shade in the entirety of this building, because there's nothing, probably, that's going to happen in this area. This is where the action is going to happen. Maybe a little bit over here, maybe a little bit over here. This spot, I don't need to worry about coloring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this perimeter that we've done, and I'm just going to shade that in. I'm going to shade that in with material sort of that I think that the building would be shaded. And in dark sun, that's almost always yellow. Which is not only efficient in terms of time, but it stretches the value of your marker out that much more. Maybe all the spires are on the fronts of the building, Squeaky. But then again, you're the one that knows all about Nibene, so I suppose I should be listening to you. Be sifting through it all. You never know. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, I think Zathis has too much real treasure on his person to be like, well, maybe there's some diamonds in that garbage. Oh, perfect. It's trash spires. That's exactly what this is. That's what this is. The one thing that I will do as I'm doing this sort of inner perimeter is that all the motions that I'm making are the same direction. That consistency of motion, I think, makes the buildings less distracting. They are, Pansy. They're up on YouTube. Squeaky, would you plug the YouTube channel real quick if you got a free second? You can check out all of our adventures up on YouTube, or you can check it out on... No, I'm sorry, Squeaky. You have to actually paste it in. Maybe I still have the link. I do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just made Squeaky look like a fool. That's it. That's the stream. That's all I wanted. Thank you, Squeaky. I'm sorry. One of my action items for this week is to improve my commands. So clearly, I need a YouTube link in there as well. This is good though. This is good. What other commands do I need? All right, I need a Twitter one. I need a Facebook one. I need to do a better job with this camera. I'm just leaning out of it the entire time. Twitch. Seems extraneous. I'm sorry, Squeaky. I've failed you yet again. What an ass. Good. I'm going to do one more thing. We're not quite done with it yet. Hi, Rooster Toes. How's it going? You're just in time to see us finish up. What we're going to do is, I mentioned before, this is where I want the action to happen. And we've got these cool alleyways and stuff like that. What we're going to do is we're going to take, not a marker, but we're going to take one of our number 2 Ticonderoga pencils. We're just going to shade the alleys a little bit, so that they're sort of darkening as they go off the map. Just sort of drive home that maybe that's not quite where you're supposed to go in this particular encounter. Or it's certainly not going to stop anyone from going that way. There's no invisible collision or anything like that, but just to sort of show where the imagined boundaries happen to be. It is for tomorrow. This is for the very beginning of the session. The party is going to roll some initiative and fight some shadow monsters. I've got them sitting around here somewhere. Give me a second. What? Ah. You can sort of make out the details there. But it's almost deliberately chosen, excuse me, to be kind of formless. It's literally made of shadows with tendrils and fangs and many, many eyes. the better with which to see you. Is everyone going to be there? So last week we had Chill Billion out of action, but that's because he was working late. His company was making him do some crunch time. But I believe that he will be here tomorrow, so we should have the entire group available. Lakitu. Well, thank you, Rooster Toes. We play tomorrow night, every Tuesday, at 7:30 p.m. Central, whenever that is for wherever you are in the world. And then if you like what you see there, on Thursdays, not this Thursday, but most Thursdays, we also do a board game night, where Lobos also participates. There you go, Squeaky. That command works. Thank goodness. Just do another quick pass on some of these to make sure they're even. This is, again, maybe not a detail that's quite as appreciable on stream, but or on camera rather, but I like it. I think you can sort of see down here a little bit better. Maybe, hello. Cool. Well, that's great, Rooster. I hope you enjoy it. We'll do our best to prove entertaining. I think we're done with this. I think it's pretty good. I'll tell you what, I take back what I said before. We're going to add just a couple more embellishments, just so that there's a little bit more visual variety. I like what we see here, but it is pretty samey, so we're going to do just one or two things. First is we're going to add just a couple of urns. I think that just having a couple of urns just sort of left out, just sitting out here, will be fine. Did that. I'm going to redraw that. I started it at sort of an isometric angle, but everything else is pretty top down. So we're going to do one there, and I'll do another one over here. This is just to give it a little bit more variety, just so it's a little bit more interesting to look at. So what's good about those is it lets it just dot another color in there. I'm just going to do a little bit. First I'll erase the pencil that I had there. And then again, just like the trash, we're not even going to shade this in entirely. We're just going to take like half of it and shade in with some brown. And we'll darken the inside. That's good. And then, believe it or not, I actually like the idea of maybe not a lantern, but even just a torch or something like that. So maybe some sort of a light source. I was thinking over here. There's already some trash in the way, but that's alright. Maybe it's just out in front. Maybe they are lanterns. sort of hanging out a bit. Garvin can set anything on fire. I think he's proven that time and again. These don't have to be super detailed. Just sort of the general kind of shape, sort of a hexagon, and a little bit of the sides hanging off. Most of what we're going to get there is from this color. It's just going to have this red light sort of shining out. That's good. That's really good, actually. I like that a lot. Thank you for the suggestion. Here, let me flip that around so you can see it a little bit better. Still not terribly close. Let's do a little bit of this. And then move that out of the way. There, you can sort of see the lanterns there. Whoop. And there we go. We've got a back alley suitable for a rumble. So just like any of these, we're going to clip it out. Taking off this sticky top row we don't need. And then I'm going to go around and trim the sides just a little bit so it's a little bit more even. I'll usually leave maybe like a blank square or so's amount of width. Around the perimeter. And we actually cut that off right there, so there we go. Good job. Good work, everyone. And then he walked away. Got a number of humans, unfortunately. We'll see what we can do about that. Well, good. Hope that was entertaining. It's always fun to do them. I'm sorry this one's a little bit shorter, but I do have some other stuff that I need to do. That doesn't involve map making, but of course we'll do some more. Maybe we'll do a little bit of creative stuff over the weekend, depending on how stuff goes. And we'll almost certainly do another one next Monday before next week's session. Let's keep the creative train a-rolling. We're going to go raid Carson Druitt, who is the creative streamer. He's a great, great guy. Fantastic artist. Probably doing some Bloodborne stuff, maybe some original stuff. Please give him a Fox raid. I'll be there. I think it'll be a great time. And join us again tomorrow, particularly if you're new to the stream. Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Central for Dungeons & Dragons, right here on twitch.tv/foxhound__. Am I missing anything? I think that's all of it. Alright. Have a good night. I'll see you in Carson's channel. What is Zathis' race? That's a good question. It might be a mystery. No, I know, but it might be a mystery. Maybe we'll uncover it. Maybe even tomorrow, but we'll see. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you to all the new people. And I hope I see you tomorrow. Have a good night.